So we have a lot of people come to a tea room and they go like, man, I'm so stuck, I'm so lost, I don't know about my relationship, about my work place, I want to maybe switch jobs, I'm, like all the sort of stuff. And usually the answer I like to give is just do the right thing. And that sounds so simple. Of course, it's not that easy to put into place or to integrate, but the idea is pretty simple. And I want to explain that a little bit in the upcoming minutes in this video. So first of all, what is not the right thing? In my opinion, and let me be clear about this, there's this idea of like non-duality and like, no, there's no wrong, and we should be accepting of everything. And yeah, you can think that way. And it's all, it's a fair point. Yeah, there are concepts out there like non-duality and blah, 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 blah. But I believe most people have no clue, including me, by the way, like what it actually means. It's like, it's super complex. It's very like deeply rooted in like philosophy and religions. But those terms get like tossed around I feel oftentimes to just like justify a position of like, yeah, everything's all right, and we don't have to live up to any moral standards or we have to, not really moral, but we don't have to hold ourselves accountable for like literally nothing, and I don't believe that's a thing. So what I don't think is doing the right thing is this idea of like, yeah, just follow your heart, follow your heart, do what feels good, and you'll be all right. Like, I don't think that works really. Because as I said in the video prior to this one, without friction, like if you never leave your comfort zone, you will not grow. You will not get anywhere. You'll just get stuck, and you will loop in this idea of like, yeah, I want to do what feels good, and we see a lot of those people nowadays, and maybe in the past as well. Like, I don't have data to back this up. So on the flip side, what is then the right thing to do? And I believe, again, it comes down to integrity. It comes down to who you are as a person. It comes down to, oh, there's a dog over there, a wild one. It comes down to who you are on the inside, your values that you define for yourself as being important and that you want to align your life with. And they should be based on what's in here, your mind. This is your superpower. That is what we've been equipped with, that sets us apart, for example, from this dog over there who that just like follows his instincts. But we have that superpower to take in the feelings that we like, the emotions that we have, in our heart, the instincts we have, our gut feeling, and we can compute all of that in our mind, given a certain level of awareness that has to be cultivated, of course. But if we take time, to cultivate our mind, to train it, to work out, to, cultivate our character, we have a great foundation to make those decisions and to align our actions with the values that we define for ourselves. And it should be nothing external. It should not be like, you don't need to compare yourself to your peers, to the people around you, to, like what's the norm, what's the standard, what they are doing. You should be your benchmark. You should be your own benchmark, and you should live up to those values. And then commit to yourself. Commitment is another big thing. It's like, we have this idea that we commit to someone or to something, but I rarely hear people talk about committing to oneself. And I think this is invaluable, actually. Because if you think of it, you can commit to someone, you can say, okay, let's be together for the rest of our lives. But this is kind of hollow. This is just like a promise that you cannot deliver on if you do not commit to yourself first. Because then it would just be like you upkeep a promise for the sake of having promised this, but not maybe because you really feel that way. Because you wake up every single day, you change, the other person changes, the world changes. So if you feel like it doesn't align anymore, then more important than holding up that promise is staying true to yourself and saying like, look, okay, it's not what I want anymore, but that keeps your integrity intact. That keeps you intact. That keeps you true, real, authentic, and honest. And then you can navigate from there, the situation. And I don't see a lot of people do this. Compromise is another thing, playing into this like doing the right thing kind of topic. We have the idea like, in order to be a good social being, like we have to compromise. And I say yes and no. Like if it's little things, talking about, I don't know, where do we go for dinner? Yeah, of course we can compromise and we should compromise. But if it's about like big things, your values, like being honest, for example, you should never compromise. Like why? Because the people around you go like, yeah, it's all right not to be 100% honest or not to be 100% fair or just or whatever you want to set as your values. There's no compromise. There shouldn't be, You should go the path that you pick for yourself, regardless of any other external occurrences. And yeah, I'm aware like what I'm talking about is it sets you up for like a lonely path sometimes, and oftentimes it brings a lot of sacrifice. It brings a lot of difficulties. It's a rocky path, but I believe in delayed gratification. I believe that weeks, months, years, decades maybe down the road, at the end of your life, when you face the ultimate challenge of dying, then or facing death, then this will have served you very, very well, and it doesn't even have to go that far. Just if you when you go to sleep, and this day today was pretty much aligned, and we will never be perfect, but we should try, was pretty much aligned with what I uphold as my values. And you go to sleep and you just feel good about it, and it's really self-sustaining that way. If you do it for yourself, and if you're selfish in that sense, because then the next day you get up and you feel like, yeah, great, like I'm gonna do this again, and that's also an important thing. Allow yourself to be selfish in this regard. Also, this idea of being selfless all the time, I don't think that works. Like, if you don't do something because you feel for yourself that makes you a better person, that serves you well, which is the nature of human beings, you want to survive. You want to have a happy and rich life. So you need to put yourself first in a way. And then out of that, from that position, once you're stable and grounded and anchored, you can and should serve the community and the people around you. But put yourself first. Don't feel weird about like thinking like, hey, this thing, this job, this relationship is not what I want. It's not in line with what I believe in. Walk away from it, do something else, like reshape, reinvent yourself. And you should do so every single day to some extent, Don't deviate 180 degrees maybe, but slightly. And that is also how we set up satotea. This is really, really how it translates into the whole thing we do, really. It's not so much a business model. Like, if we wanted to make money and like do it like what and this is not to be mean or anything, but to do it like all the other tea brands, I would not have left Berlin and my former career, I would have just continued doing real estate. But right now, this thing allows us to put into action every single day what I say right now to the camera, That's pretty much why we do it. We can express ourselves, we can talk to you, we can share our experiences, how we perceive it, all the obstacles that we overcame. And put this into the tea, share it with you, sit down with you if you're in our tea room, or if you at the end of the world order some tea, drink that cup, and contemplate, reflect on all the things that we discuss with each other, and that is our gift for you, and that's our idea on sharing how we feel about this whole stuff. So yeah, I hope you got something out of this video. I apologize if this is a bit windy. I wanted to try something new. I'm obviously next to the coast, and I hope the audio's all right. And also I wanted to freestyle this a little bit more and not so much convey every single point that's on my mind. Like in the last videos, I was more, like making sure I get all the content across, and this one is more of a fluid thing. Still practicing, it's one of my, still like video number 5, I believe. So yeah, long way to go, that I feel really comfortable and know what I'm doing actually. So learning. But yeah, with that being said, have a good rest of your day, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.